Okay, so today we're in London Road Market. As you can see, it's all pretty. And I've come in here. It's my birthday. My name is Louise Clark. And today I want to talk to you about the removing of the chairs because it's all wrong. This is my new phone, so I don't know how I get to see looking at the camera. I suppose up there. So, yeah, what's happening is they're taking away the chairs slowly, and I've noticed it over the last few years. And then I watched a video about New York this week, and I also saw that they're taking away the chairs, and they're doing it in the name of homelessness. And they're saying, oh, because the homeless might sleep on the chairs. But the thing is, well, years ago when I was young, there weren't no such thing as homeless. It's a socially constructed idea because we just used to give people deposits and homes and then they had somewhere to live. But instead we took away the deposits and we've socially constructed them as a group of homeless people in Britain and other countries like Ireland and so forth, and obviously in America. Now, by taking away the chairs, they've took away the chairs because they're saying the homeless sleep on them. And as I say, if you gave them a deposit, they wouldn't need to sleep on the chairs. But what's happening is gradually they're sneakily taking away the chairs, and so that gradually there won't be any chairs left. And it's a cold day today. I just went down to Port Slade, which is near Brighton, and I was going to have a coffee outside Greg's, but again the chair had been removed and not replaced. Now the thing is, this is why I call this video Inclusion My Eyehole, because it's like you want to include all these different groups and it's all in the name of inclusion and we mustn't discriminate and one love. But at the end of the day, taking away the chairs, you are discriminating. You're discriminating against the poor, you're discriminating against the homeless, you're discriminating against the disabled, you're discriminating against the elderly, you're discriminating against people that just don't want to sit and have a cup of coffee. And again, not everyone can afford the coffee. And it's just not right. It's just not equality because, like, for me, I sometimes can walk and sometimes can't walk. And therefore, I have to pace myself with the bus. And where does the bus stop? Because, like, I live in Brighton, you can't park anywhere. So you have to use the bus. But from one bus stop to the next, you have to somehow navigate yourself because there's no longer places to sit. Although I found that the bike stands are quite useful for sitting on, but that's probably going to become illegal. So, yeah, I want to talk about the human rights of people to have seats. I mean, we're in Brighton, we're a seaside resort. God knows what it's like in London. The consequence of taking away all the chairs is the youth all they're all cool in Brighton, so they sit on the floor. And that's all very well, but I can't sit on the floor. And if I did sit on the floor, I wouldn't be able to get back up again. Sometimes it's not appropriate to sit on the floor because it's cold and damp and wet and rainy. I wouldn't want to be sitting on the floor today. And, well, you've got to be able to sit on the floor or you can't go out on a day like this unless you're able-bodied. And that is discrimination. So I've made a few notes on it, which is what I'm looking at in the paperwork. This is my new phone, so this is all new to me, but I want to try and make the videos outside rather than indoors because I do get a bit of interference there. So as I say, it's a socially constructed concept of homeless in Western society. It wasn't there in the 60s, and we did have baby boom in the 60s, and we did have drug use in the 60s, but you didn't have drug users in the toilets, and that's another area that they're attacking, is they're taking away all the toilets in the name of, the drug users are going there and jacking up. Well, they don't go in there and jack up if they've got homes, and in the 60s they didn't jack up in the toilets. So it's self-explanatory, really. So they removed the system that worked because the deposit system worked, and they've replaced it with public charity shops, which no longer can the poor afford because it's become so trendy and socially acceptable to have second-hand things that all the middle classes do it as a hobby of going around, which pushes up the prices. The money that's received in all the charity shops does not go to the charity. It might go to the chief executive. It might go a little bit here and there to charities, but it doesn't go to the charity. If it did go to the charity, there wouldn't be any homeless. So what I did learn in the 90s when I worked within the drugs field in East London was that there was plans, and I laughed at the time, there was plans, I was told, to turn it all into charity and everything would be under charity. And obviously that's getting the public to pay for it all when we was already paying for it all when we pay our taxes. And I thought, that's ridiculous, they'll never be able to pull that off. And here we are, sitting now watching everything, all the adverts for, give money to charity, give them £3 a week and they'll be all right. But they're not all right. So, yes, the chairs that they are replacing, and they're just taking these chairs away slowly. And I don't know what their scheme is, it's probably a 10-year plan, but they're replacing sometimes with like marble ones or metal ones that no one could possibly sit on. So I'm up to page 3. I've only got a few pages to do. Hopefully I can do it quick. So, yeah, that was about the charities. Meanwhile, the charity shops are a scam. I won't go there. But, yeah, I suppose they are guilt cleansing for the middle classes, because then they feel like, oh, well, I bought a jumper at the charity shop, so therefore the homeless on the street is nothing to do with me. But it is to do with you. And, yeah, now, because of the refugee situation, everyone can recognise, oh, there's homeless people, and what about our people first? Well, just what about building some houses? Or like you've got these little places, like in Japan, you've got these little, I don't know, hobs, pods, whatever they want to call them, where people just go and stay in them for the night. Put them in. I've seen online that they've got them in Hertfordshire, but you need them everywhere. Do you get what I mean? It's like you can't leave humans in a first world country to sleep on the street, especially women, because really they should all just go to women's aid, because they are at risk of violence and they probably do suffer violence, and it's just wrong, it's just immoral. There's no justification for it. I don't care what the people do. So we've nearly finished the list of things that I've got to do on this talk. And so, yes, yes, I've done it all, I think. It's not just in the UK, as I say, because I saw New York has got the same sort of setup, and they've got like leaning chairs, which is all right for me because I've got a bad back and I'm all right. Sometimes I don't need to sit down, I can lean against a lamppost, so forth. But sometimes I can't walk at all, and therefore I can't go out because I can't get from one bus stop to the next, and there's nowhere to sit. So it looks, because I'm seeing it's happening also in New York and probably other European countries, you can see it's part of the global agenda and not just the consequence of, oh, the chair broke. And the consequence is that disabled, elderly and poor are suffering and being discriminated against. And you know, people need to go out of their house. They've all been isolated under lockdown, under all that nonsense. And, you know, people have all got these social, mental health issues. They need to go out to socialise. How can they go out to socialise if they've got nowhere to sit, if they can't afford to sit in a coffee bar and pay £3.50? So, yes, it's socially isolating, it's limiting the options of activities for people who are not in a position to either pay to go and have a coffee or physically can go and sit in coffee bars. And it's discouraging, it's not inclusive for the poor, not inclusive for the elderly, not inclusive for the disabled. So, as I say, inclusivity, my eye hole. That's it for me today, and I wish me a happy birthday, and thank you for listening, and hopefully we get some cheers. Goodbye for now.